Wales have done it. Wales have beaten Italy in Wales, 31 points to 17. Now, it might seem a bit closer at the end of the game than the scoreboard, but if you did not watch the game, Wales really dismantled Italy today. Wales really got the best of Italy. Now, we're going to be going over some of the stats. This is just my immediate reaction to the game, so honestly, some of my thoughts are very raw right now, but I'm really happy for Welsh fans. I'm very disappointed for the Italian fans. I honestly did think that Italy would win this game and that it would be a close game, but Wales getting a win. See, there has to be a positive taken from this game. Wales getting a win. It was bound to happen. I mean, every single game throughout the tournament, they've gotten better. Let's think about some of their games. They started against England. They played very poorly that game. They just looked fundamentally out of it, got destroyed by England, which, looking at it now, probably isn't a very strong England team. Next week, played against a very strong France team, got dismantled again, but showed some more signs, some more fight in them. They were more competitive for more periods of the game. Then after that, they played Ireland or Scotland. They looked a lot better. A close game against Scotland. They looked a lot better around the park, competitive in some certain areas, showing more competitiveness and fight for more periods of the game. Then against Ireland, taking Ireland to the end of the game, making it really difficult for Ireland. And this Ireland team is really good right now. And then today, beating Italy at home. What a performance. Let's see some of these individual performances, because there were some huge individual performances today. Carries. Dowie Lake with 13 carries. He's been really leading from the front, as well as Aaron Wainwright, who had 13 carries as well. Man of the match performance as well. So those two have really been leading from the front. Josh Adams with 8 carries. I've been so happy to see Josh Adams there. He's one of those Welsh players I've always liked. Honestly, I've seen him playing against South Africa for many years now, and he's always been a guy I've really liked. Louis Rees-Zammit was better today with 7 carries. Ellis Mee has been phenomenal. He also had 7 carries. I mean, if you just look at some of these names, Ben Carter, Alex Mann, James Botham, Eddie James, these are players that recently probably weren't players you would think of in international rugby at all, but now recently they've gained a lot more experience and they just look a lot better. So really good to see some of these guys that you would think were just inexperienced guys that you're like, okay, well, this guy's going to get a cap, he's going to look terrible, to now where they've gained experience, gained 5+ caps, 10+ caps. Now they're looking like the real deal. Now they're really growing into their roles in international rugby. I mean, Alex Mann, take him as an example, or James Botham. They were looking like inexperienced guys at the start of the tournament or at the end of last year, but now they've just grown into their roles in the team and they understand what it takes to win at this level now. So this team can really take this experience forward and learn from it and just grow from it. And I'm really excited to see how they do throughout the rest of the tournament. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Wales team does. So 31 points to Wales, 17 points to Italy. One really key characteristic that stood out to me from Wales today is their average points scored on their 22-meter entries. The recent games, they've been scoring 1 point on average or less than 1 point, but today, 3.5 points on average per 22-meter entry. They got 8 entries today. Italy got 10 entries and had an average of 1.7 points. So the one area where I think Wales was really struggling is converting that pressure. They were able to put pressure on the opposition team, but they were unable to convert it. But today, they were able to convert it, scoring an average of 3.5 points. So that's more than a penalty every single time they entered the 22. Now, that is a really good way to end a game, or a really good way to win a game, is by being more clinical, better in those red zone areas, better in those key areas than the opposition team. And Wales today showed exactly what that is. Now, they do have these attack profile graphs, and you can see that today overall, the post-contact meters were similar. The 22-meter entries were similar as well between both teams. The kicks were similar. The carries were similar. Italy had more line breaks than Wales, which showed how much fight Wales had today. But overall, the big difference maker was the 22-meter conversion. Now, I don't know if you can see the little graph here, but that red part there is where they had a much bigger difference than Italy, which was the 22-meter conversion. So that is a key area where they just completely outperformed Italy. Now, looking at the tackle stats, they were quite even in tackles made, quite even in turnovers won. Italy had more tackles missed, so Wales missed a lot less tackles than Italy. But the other areas where Wales really outplayed Italy today, they had much more dominant tackles. They had 8 dominant tackles to Italy's 3, which is something you don't really expect. Normally expect Italy to have a lot more dominant tackles, be a really physical team. But today, Wales just completely dominated Italy physically, and they just looked like the much better physically imposed team. Also, offloads allowed Wales did allow more offloads, but they had a lot more dominant tackles, which slowed down the Italian ball and made it very difficult for them to attack today. So tackle turnovers as well. Wales were able to force more turnovers in the tackles. Tackles made 120 Wales, 115 Italy, but 5 more dominant tackles, which is 5 different breakdowns where Italy was on the back foot. Tackles missed. Italy missed 27 tackles to Wales only missing 16. Turnovers won. Both teams quite even. 9 turnovers for Wales, 10 turnovers for Italy. So overall, you can see kind of where the game was won and lost. Those 22-meter entries, those dominant collisions. Wales just really stepped up today and played a phenomenal game of rugby. Scrums. Wales won 80% of the scrums and 86% of the lineouts, which for other teams, they'll be disappointed with that. But for this Wales team, they've been under 80. They've been even sometimes under 70 in both of those aspects throughout the tournament. So for them to be over 80 in both is a really big positive for them. Yes, Italy won 100% of their scrums, but that's what you expect from Italy. But lineout wins for Italy, 77%. So Wales was really making life difficult for Italy at lineout time. So these are some of these things I've been realizing from Wales. They've been making things throughout the tournament. They've been making things more difficult for the opposition, which is what you kind of expect from a good international team. Every single part or every single facet of the game has to be a fight. It has to be a grind. It has to be difficult. The aerial battle, every single box kick needs to be accurate. You need to make sure the opposition don't catch a ball clean or they don't feel like they don't have pressure at all once. Every single tackle, they've got to feel like it's a dominant hit. It's got to stop them right there. Every single time they run a bit too high in contact, you've got to keep them up or at least let them fear being held up, which I think this Welsh team did really well today, is where when they got the opportunity to be pests, they were pests. When they got the opportunity to be dominant, they were dominant. When they got the opportunity to score points, they scored points. They took the opportunities, they won the small battles. And I do say this, it's not my quote, I've heard it before, but I say it and I really believe it. International rugby is an entire game made up of small battles, and whoever wins more of those small battles will end up winning the game. And Wales today ended up winning more of those small battles, and throughout the last few weeks, they've been winning more and more and more of those small battles. And this Wales team have just looked like they've on the up, getting so much better. And honestly, I can't wait to see how some of these guys now go and perform at club level for their clubs at URC level. It's going to be really interesting to see how these inexperienced guys before the tournament that are now experienced internationals that have won some games at international level, taken Scotland to the end of the game, taken Ireland to the end of the game and beaten Italy, how they're going to perform at club level now. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be really good to see. But honestly, really, really proud of this Wales team. I'm a neutral, but I'm really happy to see that Wales won. I do like Italy. It's probably my second favorite team, so I was disappointed to see that they didn't win, but they fought hard back at the end. They fought really hard back at the end of the game, but it wasn't meant to be. But for Wales, really positive. For Italy, they still had a good Six Nations campaign, but for both of these teams, I will be doing a complete tournament player rating, so stay tuned for that, and a bit of an overview, a review, and a report for both teams in depth, so stay tuned for that if you are a fan. Thank you so much for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.